Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4FAP links you could ever need, all in one place. You can provide feedback, listen, support, share, enjoy these. We have our Patreon there. You can buy us a beer or a coffee. You can check out our Instagrams, our Twitters, our Facebooks. Check out our YouTube page. You can email us. You can listen to our podcasts on Patreon, if you're a subscriber, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Podbean. We have Google Podcasts on there. We have an Amazon wish list. You want to buy Kyle and I something? Fine. You can do that here. We appreciate it. We have Kyle's RPG podcast listed on there, so you can check out his Dork Day Afternoon offerings. We have Cowabunga links, so you can check out the Cowabunga Deep Discount FOC and pre-order list. Get on that. That's RLCS, so you can check that out as well. And we want to just give you opportunities to say hi, to check out what we're doing, support us if you would like, or just listen. Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4FAP links you could ever need. Thanks. Back to the show.
Aloha! It's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be interviewing three-time Eisner-nominated comic creator and five-time Jim Kata champion, Kyle Starks. He is here to promote his latest graphic novel, Karate Prom, from First Second. This hardcover book, it's a great book, comes out on May 7th. Kyle, welcome to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me. Small correction, four-time Jim Kata winner, one-time runner-up. So that's confused a lot because I had so many victories. Everyone was pretty shocked. The last one, I was only a runner-up. But sometimes, you know what, we do the best we can. We put the effort in, and we hope the effort returns. But sometimes just luck isn't on our side that day.
Yes, that's true.
Some blonde jumpy guy won it that year.
And did
he
he
doing all sorts
leg?
of flippy dudes and like the pommel horse fight. I saw this guy's doing this pommel horse fight. I'm like, I can't. I got to retire.
You're like, why are they pulling these out? Why are they pulling out uneven bars? What's going on, man? You know,
I didn't even know those uneven bars were there, and it was my fifth time. You know, crazy. Some guys just come in and they change the whole game. You know, you think you know the rules. Some guy shows up, he's doing backflip kicks, and you're like, that's not what I was doing.
You're just doing, they're going, wait a minute, hey. Mm-hmm. Oh, Kyle, thank you very much for doing that. I love it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. So, listeners, you guys are in for a real treat. Me and Kyle, we're going to have fun with this. I'm going to go over some of Kyle's works and Kyle, please correct me if I'm wrong. You've already did that. You know, you're a four-time champion. You're a runner-up.
That's right.
Okay, so from Oni Press, you've done Rick and Morty, Dead of Winter. For Image, you've done the series Sex Castle, and then Rock Candy Mountain. Now that trade is being reprinted and will come out this summer on June 18th. So listeners, please pick that up. I definitely will be checking that out too. From Skybound Comics, I Hate This Place. Assassination. Six Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton from Dark Horse, Where Monsters Lie. And coming out in July, Barfly from the World of Minor Threats. Now, note, listeners and old-time listeners, now this Barfly comic, has no relation to the Barfly movie that came out in 1987 that starred Mickey Rourke and Faye Dunaway. I don't know, unless, Kyle,
No, it does not.
Can I spoil it? Where you just have, on the first page, you have Mickey Rourke just changing into a real, actual Barfly.
No, unfortunately not. I think that Barfly movie has a great soundtrack too. A lot of Dylan on that soundtrack, if memory serves.
Oh, that's so cool.
I might be thinking of a different movie.
And well, you don't know. Yeah. All right. And then from Boom Studios, you've done Pine and Merrimack. Okay. I know for Marvel, you did Marvel Unleash. For DC Comics, of course, the three-part Wild Dog story in Batman Brave and the Bold, issues 7 to 9. You did a short story in Harley Quinn, Black, White, and Redder. And of course, everyone knows this, and I know this is an audio podcast. It's sitting on the back of your shelf. Peacemaker tries hard miniseries. Now it's already out in trade, right? Or a hardcover, right?
Hardcover, yeah. Daddy's first hardcover.
Ah, okay. And then your second hardcover is going to be Karate Prom, right?
Which has also a soft cover. There's a soft cover, hardcover. You get to pick, I guess, whatever experience you want the most.
I'm going to say
buy the hardcover. I get more money.
That's what I'm saying, man. You need to pick up the hardcover. Don't go for the soft cover. The hardcover, I read the story. It's great. It really is. Okay. So, Kyle, where can people follow you on social media?
I'm at the Kyle Starks almost everywhere.
Okay.
Blue Sky, Instagram, all X, whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
I think that's majority of where to find me.
Okay. And then also, please feel free to, I know you have a Patreon page and a sticker club. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I don't know what my address is. I think it's just /Kyle Starks. Patreon. What a dummy. I'm looking.
No, that's all right.
It's Kyle. I'm just Kyle Starks on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Patreon's cool if you want to support someone on the regular.
We
like that to sort of to give people more reason to do it. I started doing a sticker club. It's $5 a month, no shipping. It's flat, and I send out 2 stickers a month. Generally, whatever I want to do. Through the Patreon, it's also available on my store, which is kylestarks.com, which has appearances and stuff on it. But I do it through the Patreon because the Patreon I'll do polls pretty regular and let my Patreon sort of vote on what the next couple will be. Yeah, we love Sticker Club. I think this month is Bloodsport. It's Bloodsport, and last month was 2 Kurt Russells. It was The Thing and Escape from New York. So we have a lot of fun with it. I've been doing it. I started it, I think, October before the pandemic.
Yes.
And I was going to do it just to I wanted to not bring single issues of Rick and Morty to shows anymore.
Yeah.
Because they take up so much space. They're so heavy, but they sold really well. So I was like, what if I have another $5 item? And I decided on stickers, and I was just going to do superheroes because like, the people will love superheroes. And once the pandemic hit, I was like, I don't want to do superheroes. I just want to do things that I like, basically.
Yeah.
And people really gravitated to it. So it's fun if you like stickers and you like, I don't know, 80s action movies and that type of thing. It's a good time, I think. Fun. They're big. They're like almost 3 inches tall. They're good stickers.
Oh my God, the Kurt Russell one. I have to go on your store website to get those.
They're not up there yet. A lot of it I do Patreon exclusive, so you might have to wait. I know.
Oh, okay.
I know. That's why you got to follow me on social media. If you just want one, you can. Here's the thing: if you want to sign up and quit, I don't care. Like if you want to sign up, if you just want to pick when they're coming, what do I care? You got to follow me on social media because I try to keep it exclusive. That's the whole point of having a sticker club. It's not a sticker store, right? It's a sticker. You got to get in the club.
Yeah. I might do that. Okay. All right. Now, to prepare for this interview, I got some of my information from the Bearded Comic Bros YouTube podcast that came out on April 17th, 2024. And also to the YouTube podcast, Hops Geek News. That one just came out recently on April 24th. So if you guys get a chance, please check out those 2 great interviews. That, because Kyle and the Bearded Comic Bro and the Hops Geeks News Gang, that was a lot of fun watching those. It was great.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought they did a good job.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to jump right in. Karate Prom. This story is freaking awesome. I love it.
I love it. Thank you so much. I
love it. It's great. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the obvious question. What is the story about?
Yeah. I don't want to be like, maybe it seems obvious coming in. It's about a karate prom. But it's called Karate Prom, and it's about a karate prom. It's about it's such a good title. How do I go further? It's about 2 young people meet each other at a karate tournament, and they sort of become smitten with each other, and they go to a prom. There's evil ex-boyfriends, there's school bullies, there's it escalates. It starts with karate prom, and then it sort of is a karate after prom, and then it's a karate graduation. And just these 2 people sort of trying to come of age and learn about caring about another person, and a ton of fisticuffs and silly characters. I think that's the gist of it, right?
Yes, it is. It is. and listeners, a little bit more into the interview. I'll talk about what I really love about it. Now I'm going to ask you, how did you come up with this awesome story?
Yeah. So here's the gist of it. I must say, just like it's short, it's fairly long. So over the pandemic, everyone, I think, during the lockdown, literally the lockdown, not just the pandemic, because in theory that's still going, I think, but I don't know the numbers today. But during the actual lockdown, I thought, I know a lot of comic creators were struggling because the publishing had stopped and there weren't shows and there weren't conventions, and I felt like, and I'm not saying I would save anything, but I was like, we need a free comic book day. We need it. That's a day that unites the comic community.
Yes.
And I thought someone should do something. And I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like an 8-page story and I'll just give it away. And so what I did was I asked Twitter for titles. That way there's no pressure on me. People knew like it's short. And Karate Prom won because obviously it's the best title of all time. Actually, the colorist Chris Schweitzer, who I've done several books with, and who was the artist on Mars Attacks and Six Sidekicks of Trigger Keaton, who's one of my best friends, he actually suggested Karate Prom. So I was going to do an 10-page comic. I did 32 pages in 10 days. It saved my life. I mean, it saved my well-being. I don't want to say it saved my life, but it brought me joy in a time when there was little to no joy. And so I gave that, I think it was 32, 36, whatever it is. I put it, pay what you want for free comic book day. It was well received because I think it's a lot of fun. But I was so smitten with these characters that I did 2 more chapters in private. And I thought, I'll figure out what I'm going to do with these later. I've done several books where I did a Kickstarter and then I found a publisher, Sex Castle Killed Them All, which is with Oni, and Old Head, which is now with Image. It's something that I found brings me a lot of joy and has historically worked out very well for me. So I was like, I'll just do a Kickstarter later and then give it to Image or whomever wants it. And I ended up having a conversation with a literary agent, and I got a literary agent, and we ended up talking First Second. And here we are. It comes out from First Second the 7th. I hope that's right. May 7th, I think.
Yes, it is.
Very soon. Extremely soon.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the origins. Man, I'm going to tell you, I literally made the comic in 10 days. I'd have to look to see when I got those titles, but I'm pretty sure I started the next day because I waited so long because I thought I'm just going to do an 8-pager. Yeah. And I draw, I'm not Daniel Warren Johnson. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a lot of lines there. It's simple. So I could do 8 pages. In theory, I could do 8 pages in 2 days. So I was like, but sometimes they just come to you fully, and you sort of give credit. You let the story have the credit it deserves to sort of tell its own story. And like I said, I was so smitten with them. I was like, there's more stories to tell. So I did the next 2 chapters, and just sat on them. I sat on them that was 2020. So it's been 4 years that I've just had these secret comics, which I've never done before. I need attention too badly to just sit on a private comic.
So I'm going to get a little bit more detail. Like, all right, you already got your title. I mean, did the title just already said, all right, I know okay, it's going to be high school, because of prom.
Right? Yeah, it's going to be Karate Prom.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I can talk. Sometimes I can remember, like, there's the books that just come through me are always my favorite. Where Monsters Lie, which I did with Dark Horse. I pitched several places and they didn't quite get it, but when I don't remember writing it. I don't remember because it was all there and it just came out.
Yes.
And my favorite books are always that way, and this was 100% that. It was somehow all there, but usually I think about them a long time, and I forget about that part because when the process came, it was so easy. But this was one. I think I'd never done a romance or true romance, and so I'm going to do a romance. I'd never done anything with teens.
Yes.
And so I think there was just a lifetime of sort of teen romance movies and all their tropes and all their little bits that I was just waiting to play with, and they sort of flowed out of me into this fun little book.
Because the other thing I have to say, and we'll get into your, actually, let me just jump into your characters. Like, I love your main characters, Don, the Dragon Wilson Jones. Is that right? Whose name that popped in my head when I first read that? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, so How did you come up with his name? And can you describe?
Don the Dragon Wilson is a semi-famous sort of B kung fu action movie star. So he's literally named after like a direct. I don't want to say that because Don the Dragon Wilson did a bunch of cool stuff, but primarily it was sort of direct to video stuff. And he has a billion movies. So his dad was a big fan of Don the Dragon Wilson. I can't wait to. I say hesitantly, I can't wait until Don the Dragon Wilson finds out he has a character named after him in a book. I don't know if the legal has checked in on that already, but yeah. So that's the bit is that, and spoilers. If you read the last page, they say the name of a character that doesn't appear in the book, and that character is the same. It's another sort of famous action movie star's name, and that's just a recurrent bit. So yeah, I here's the thing, Don. I don't know if again. I don't know if I went into that character and went, I should name him Don the Dragon Wilson Jones, or if when I got to that point, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if his middle name was the Dragon Wilson? You know what I mean? If his middle name was the Dragon Wilson, because I would think it'd be really funny. I don't recall. I think he was Don to start, and it just seemed funny at the time. And sometimes that's how we do comedy: is we just go, is it funny at the time? And you hope it is.
But I like what you said, that, like you said, some of your best stories, they just kind of go through you. It's already, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it just sounds like you already, once you saw Karate Prom, it sounded like you already had your characters. They were there, and
for sure. And I think Don and Sam is a female lead.
Yes.
I sort of have, they are sort of guest stalls of other things that I've done. Like there's certain just things that I like. I like people who are very good at something, who are very confident about it, and that's Sam. But I also like when someone's very confident and she's confident because she's so good, is to give them a reason to doubt. That's one of my favorite sort of arcs to play with.
Yes.
And Don is probably almost every lead character. I love someone who never gives up. And I love someone who will do anything for the people they care about. And Don's very much that. Those are very much things that repeat probably through my work, especially sort of Don. But I think you do variants of a theme. I think Don's a very playful, sort of more naive and goofier than you'll see of the other characters who do that. My lead in Rock Candy Mountain is very much both of them together in many ways. And so it's all in archetypes, and you try to make the stories you want to read. And so I often sort of draw from similar wells. But again, how much thought did I put into that? I don't recall. And I say that again, emphasizing like I put a lot of thought into them. I just don't remember. Yeah. Because it wasn't a burden. It was fun. And you don't remember things that are fun for whatever reason. But yeah, this one though, I had it's literally seat in my pants. The whole thing was, which is, I probably shouldn't say. I should say how much work I did, how much effort I put into it. But I did it in such. I mean, I probably did. I think it was 120 pages, something like that. I think I did those 120 pages probably over like 4 months, and it was just me, making comics, like just being so stoked about making comics. So I don't think there was a lot of me going, "Oh, figure this out." I think a lot of it. Here's the thing, because I don't think, and I'll say this humbly, I don't think that I'm a big plot guy. I don't think people go, let's see what tale he's going to craft. But I think I am a good character guy, and sort of sending characters through things is easy. You just think of what the next thing, like for chapter 3, it's how do you escalate? How do you make it even more difficult for these? And the big bad in 3, whose name I'm going to forget because I spoke well. But I was like, oh, what if he couldn't be hit? What if he was like untouchable with his kung fu? And I'm like, oh, how do you solve that problem? And a lot of it's like that. But it wasn't me spending weeks going, I wonder what's going to be. It's just me going, wouldn't this be interesting to draw and to play with and then to solve? This book just came out of me. It just flowed out of me. And I probably won't say that about anything else. Because like I said, I remember thinking about them. But for this, there was no time. I did the book in 10 days. I literally did it in 10 days. And then I kept going. So not a lot of thought was put into it. So it's relying on a lot of I think writer's instinct,
I have to say it's very good because just in the first 30, actually in the first maybe actually in the first 5-10 pages, I already know who Don was already. He, it, like he seemed like you said, he's got a little bit of doubt in himself, but he's well rounded. He's been in karate for a longest time because
Mm-hmm.
I love that and I love the opening scene. You see him running, and it 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 just throws the readers off because oh God, he's being chased. No, he's late for his karate tournament.
That's right. Yeah, he's very fallible, but he tries real hard, and I think that opening sequence shows
Yeah,
uh, that he's imperfect, but he tries very hard, and I think that's a terribly redeeming characteristic for anyone to have.
yeah. And then I love Sam because, and I think the other going back, I love both Don. I mean, I love all the characters. They all have their little quirks and their and I just love them all. But the other thing I love about Don and Sam is um they do have, they have their minor flaws and stuff, but the thing is, but it's not the, oh, I came from a broken home, oh, I had to get into karate, or this bully's beating me up and now I have to turn to, defend myself. No, these are, it's just like
Yeah,
probably,
no bummers. That's what we say. No bummers for this book. It's all positive and sort of uplifting. Sure.
yes, and that's what I love about it. um Also
No
too,
bummers.
yeah, no bummers. And the other thing too is that what I also too is I love now I don't want to spoil too much, but I love Luke's story arc too.
Yeah, Luke has a fun arc. That's your classic '80s blonde haired bully right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's what like I said. I read the book when it came out, and I did it in 2020. We added pages. We
Hmm.
stretched it out in 2023, but it'd been a year probably since I'd looked at any of it. So when the book came and I read it, I was in many ways reading it with fresh eyes because it'd been
Yes.
so long since I looked at it. And if it's something that you're selling, like I see the stuff I sell at my table, so I kind of still see work regular. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, but I hadn't seen this in so long, and I read it with fresh eyes, and I was so pleased. And for me, I was like, oh, every character has an arc. Even the minor, like even a background
Yes.
character in the first chapter gets an arc. And I'm like, oh, I like that a lot. So again, it's a lot of me making the thing that I wish existed, and it's such a treat to go, oh, I really enjoyed this. Like I'm glad somebody made this. Uh, yeah, the whole like yeah, you just want to make something fun, and I think that was especially because of the times the pandemic was so dark.
Hmm.
Um, I just want to make something that was unbridled fun, and I think the book succeeds in that.
The other thing I love about the book too is it is fun, it is positive, but I also love it too because it also deals with um it also deals with relationships too. It's that nice little layer under there, you know.
Yeah,
I love it. And
yeah, and they all have an involvement sort of with one another in many
yes,
ways, like sort of high school did. Like everyone bounces off of each other, uh, and the way that what starts off as just your bully then turns into something bigger, and then turns into bigger to see how like the school, how your sort of circle comes
yes,
together to fight the large. Yeah, I love it, man. I think it's so
yeah,
fun.
it's great. Because the other thing I also too that I and it I when I watched it because I was watching the Pops Geeks News interview, and it hit me because you like you said, because there's 3 chapters in this.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to say my interpretation when I read the book was the first that I was thinking it's like little stages of relationships. Don and Sam meet in the first chapter,
Yep.
and they try to they go on that sort of awkward date, and they try to, and then the second one is just it kind of like then it starts blooming into a relationship where they're they're fighting alongside of each other,
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
the flirtation that becomes a relationship.
Yeah, and then I'm not, I don't want to spoil, but the final chapter is, it's a great final chapter, and I love it because it just seems like the 3 stages of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Hopsky, and you just mentioned it too, is that also too is the escalation too. I love it too, but it also kind of, and I'm reading a little too much into this, but it kind of sort of reminds me a little bit about anything about martial arts. You always start off as the white belt, and if you need to
Okay.
advance next, you have to pass certain tests to get to
Right.
the next level. And that's
Uh-huh.
what's like, oh my God, this is great. I kind of
Yeah,
I
I
love
can
it,
see that.
you know.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love that. Yeah, like
And
everything, we just you at some point you're tested in a way that challenges you and their relationship is,
yes.
and if you overcome, then you get to move forward, and if not, you go a different direction or whatever, right? So
y-
no, we love it. That's a
Oh,
good one.
it's great. Um, what I also love about this story is the dialogue feels very natural. I don't, it just felt it flowed naturally, and I love it. And now, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong. This is kind of off the cuff, but correct me if I'm wrong. But because this was more, because it seemed like it could be written for young adults, right? For
Yeah, it's ostensibly all ages, and it
Okay.
would have been the first all ages thing that I wrote because
Uh-huh.
I tend to have a lot of profanity and innuendo and sort of
Mhm.
adult situations. I would not say anything. I would say probably I feel like I write R stuff and it's really PG-13. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
Because I don't do anything. I never do anything sort of overtly unsettling. But I do use adult language and I probably make too many sex jokes.
Mhm.
But this was one of two. I now have two. My wife was always like, "When are you going to write something my daughters can read?" I'm like, "I guess when they're 18, they can read anything."
Yeah.
But I would say I I don't think that I didn't write it with a target audience in mind. I just knew that this was something that all ages could probably enjoy. I would say Marvel Unleashed also all ages, and those are probably the only two that are
Mhm.
appropriate for any age.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm really growing and maturing. But it's exciting to sort of deal with a new audience. I'm going to do some bookstore tours, which I've never done.
Oh, it's
I've
nice.
only ever done comic stuff, so I
Yes.
don't even know what you're supposed to do. I don't know what people do.
Yeah.
Um, we'll figure it out. But I mean, I think if you were gonna go, oh, who's the targeted audience? The publisher would probably be like teens, but I don't think it might be too timid for a teen, honestly. But I think
Yeah. It's
if you like my stuff, you're in. Obviously, I think it's
yeah.
very much in line with all the stuff that I've done. I think if you sort of have a nostalgia, someone called it John Hughes did a karate movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that's it. If you think the idea of John Hughes doing a karate movie is like the dopest thing, you're gonna love it. And I think that's everybody, right? Like surely that's
Yes.
just
Mhm.
everybody would love John Hughes's karate film. So I like that. I like that sort of shorthand for it. But yeah, it's for sure the second thing I've ever written that does not have a profanity in it. So
The thing I
it does
love.
have innuendo in it,
Oh yes.
a
But
little innuendo.
um I love it because I could get into the story. I mean, it hooked me like in the first 10 pages because and I'm a guy in my late 50s, I love it. I enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah, all ages.
Yes, so it's not like
Fingers crossed.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think to me it's not young adult or whatever. But I feel like because I'm 47. I'm Gen X. Like we hate classifying things. So whenever people go, oh, who's it for? I go, it's for everybody. Though again,
Yeah.
I say for my work, I'm like, it's everybody over a certain age, probably, probably, but only because I'm a prude. Like if you don't care about curse words, then it's for
Yeah.
everybody. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So, yeah, I don't like to make niche things. I don't think that's the way to tell stories,
Oh yeah.
generally speaking.
And I and the thing is for listeners that you know, is like in the age range of me and Kyle, please don't look down and go, oh, that looks like a kid story, or that looks like, no, it's not. It's a great story.
Yeah,
It is.
I don't. I think I would think anyone in the comics industry probably has seen. Well, they haven't because they didn't sell it well. But like I did Sex Castle and I did Rock Any Mountain and I did Kill Them All and I did Old Head, which are all things I've drawn before. So sort of the aesthetic sort of exists in
Mhm.
the sort of direct market world space or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it. I don't know. Maybe it does. I can't grade art that way. It looks like a comic book to me. So I hope it looks like a comic book to everybody, and they're just like, man, I love comic books. That's what
Oh,
we hope for.
Oh, but yes, but then again, I have to keep telling listeners, please pick up the hardcover. Oh my God. I didn't even know this thing was coming out in hardcover until I
Right.
saw that on the Geek Top News, they I think someone, yeah, said it was in hardcover. It was just great,
I
you
don't
know.
remember my hard for.
So
I have one. I'll
oh,
show you.
okay.
But I'm missing. I don't know what I did. It was upstairs. Oh, my daughter had it. My daughter had one.
Awesome.
That's what that's what you like to hear, though. That's what you like to hear is the daughter's finding it out.
Yes. Mhm.
She said it was good. Daughter
So
said it was good.
that's great. One other thing I love, I just want to say is that I love your visual wordplay. Oh, of course, I'm sorry. It's this
I
is
know it's on video. It looks cool, right?
yes, it does. Oh God,
Very
and I
neat.
love the. I can't wait to see the two-page spread where it's like I think we're you
Where
gotta
he
correct
kicks
me,
him?
I think Don does a kick or a hit to Luke,
Yeah.
and it's just he's just like flying off. Yes,
Right
the
here.
radical kick.
Radical kick. And they did spot gloss on the cover. We love that spot gloss. Very fun.
Oh, that's so
Thanks for a second.
yes. So are you going to put that? No, I'm off the cuff and I'm joking. Are you going to do that with a DC when DC comes back and asks you to do a Peacekeeper, second volume? You're going to go, I want these little spot things on the hardcover,
Where's the spot gloss, guys? They did a good job on that Peacemaker hardcover. They can do whatever they want.
I'm just,
They listen. None of them are asking me what I think.
you know,
They're just like we're gonna do this, and I go, well, yeah, of course.
yeah.
Sometimes they're dumb ideas, and sometimes they're not. But
Oh,
they went. I didn't know they were gonna do two versions. It's very exciting. We like two versions because maybe you don't want to spend $5 more. Maybe you don't have $25. Maybe you only have $20. It's like, well, just get it either way. I'm okay with that. I just want people to read it. So
that's the main thing. Yes. All right. Um, um, Don and Sam on their first date, they go and get shave ice. You know,
yes.
How did you get that idea? Because I know on the mainland it's called snow cones. Well,
Yeah, we
shave
call
ice
it different things. You know what's funny is I bet you could find the tweet because I was like, what? I was like, I know what we call it here, like in Indiana, but they
yeah.
call it something, it's got a regional, wherever you are, it has a different name. And so I
Uh-huh.
actually tweeted, I did like a survey to try to figure out what the most common, what do they call it in the book? Do you remember? They call it shaved ice.
Yeah, that's why I was calling it shave
So,
ice. It's like,
so in in Indiana, we call it a snow cone. It's a snow cone
yes.
to me. But it has a regional name. I actually did a survey for that, and I was like, shaved ice is the one people will 100% know. Now, the bigger question is, why did I choose shaved ice? I don't know. It was summer. That's the only answer I got. Is I just saw a shaved. I probably took my kids to a shaved ice place, and I thought, what a cute place
Yeah.
to go on a date. And they couldn't get coffee, which they're kids anyway, so they probably wouldn't get coffee.
Oh God,
I mean,
yes.
maybe in 2024, but I don't think their age is uh uh it's sort of vague. So I think they're old enough to drive because
Yes.
they do graduate. Um, but anyway, so maybe they would be drinking coffee, but there's a reason why they don't go to coffee. It's because Sam has a busted lip, and it would sting her lip if she had. Um,
Yes.
so
Mhm.
I don't remember why I picked shave ice, but the name I call them snow cones. They're snow cones to me.
Yes.
Um, my kids at one point were calling them the brand, like the company that would show up at school events. They would call it by their name, which was Kona Ice. Kona Ice shows around in India. So there's all these different names, and there's a third. There's shaved ice snow cone, and I wish I could remember the other one. Like Jersey has like a weird name for them,
Uh-huh.
something. So yeah, I actually did. That's a bit where I was like, what do I call this? So I tweeted it while I'm still working.
Yes.
Um, and I picked shaved ice. I think because I found it was in North America. Uh, it was the most common. You would know what they were talking about. Like not everyone knew what a snow cone was, but everyone knew what a shaved ice was. How interesting, right?
Yes. So I'm going to say so that the brand that goes to your daughter's school, you said what was it called? Kona Ice?
Kona. It's Kona. Kona. Shout out. I guess like their sales are going to go up now. Yeah, it's Kona Ice,
Oh my
which is
God.
weird, right?
Because Kona is a popular town on the Big Island in
Yeah,
Hawaii.
yeah. So why did they? Who knows? Maybe they're actually. I don't think they are, but maybe I don't know. It's so funny. But yeah,
Oh,
that's the place, and they show up at the baseball game here in
yes.
Southern Indiana. So they would say, "Oh, we want that," but it was only we have them all over the place here. They're just like little shacks. You know what I mean? They're great,
Yeah.
and high school kids are probably doing a terrible job pouring too much syrup on whatever you get. But they're all called something different. So at the time, it was like, what do they call? Why they call it by the brand name that they recognize? But they're snow cones to me. But
Yeah.
if they're not in, I think some places don't put them in the cone. They put them in like a cup.
Yes.
And so then snow cone doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I did research that. I did actual research on that one.
Okay. All right. No spoilers because during the prom, well, I already spoiled that part already. You have Kung Fu Soldiers of Fortune forum.
Yeah.
I'm joking
Right.
on this part. Did you have to look through ads in the back of karate magazines, and did you scour the dark web to see if this is actual real?
Yeah, the bit in the book is that the bully puts out a hit on our leads, where so he posted it on the Soldiers of Fortune Kung Fu forum to get him in. I think I maybe just heard in the last couple of years or before doing this how there were sort of wanted ads in the back of like Soldiers of Fortune and like Kung Fu magazine and stuff like that. So I just thought it was funny. That's it. I just thought it was funny. I don't think I've ever seen them before. I think the idea of putting a hit in a public place is hilarious. I also like the idea of just a bunch of like Kung Fu martial artists just waiting around for the opportunity to make a few extra bucks.
Yes.
Like this is their only income, and God, please someone post something on the forum so they can show up at a high school and beat up some high school kids. That's evil. Those are bad guys. They deserve whatever they get.
Let's see. All right, let me just jump to this next question, and I'll circle back around to the last two. So, what was the most fun or exciting thing that you love working on Karate Prom?
Oh, I mean, as I sort of insinuate here, I mean, the whole thing was just such a dream, and it was that whatever it was 4-month period over the pandemic. I find I started making comics that way, where because I guess I'm technically a cartoonist, right? I write and draw my own stuff, but I knew my art was never my writing is what would carry me through things, and obviously that's true today. But I am for sure, unquestionably happiest outside of my familiar life, my family life, and my dogs and whatnot. I'm absolutely the happiest when I'm writing and drawing my own comics. It's just that's to me there's something about that process. There's something about the freedom that I get because there's no editorial. There's I don't write a script for myself. I just start doing it. Like I said, generally I think of the story and I just go, this one, I kind of let it be what it was going to be a little bit, which is pretty tough for me because I'm so type A. There's something about sitting down and just making the thing and having the freedom to add and subtract, and that for sure is the happiest. So if there's like one segment, I think if we were just talking about the first chapter, I'd be like, oh, it's Sam and Don. Sam and Don sort of meet cute. You know, I love that the most. But I would have felt like some of these characters are so thin, and I like how sort of everyone has an arc. And my art got a lot better for this book. I did a bunch of some pretty cool environments, I think, for me, because I historically kind of half-assed that. Yeah, man, it's the process. That's gonna be true of almost. I love telling stories. I don't love writing. I don't love that part. I don't love collaboration, but I love making comics. And that's not a bit. It's my I haven't done it in 4 years now, so I need to do it again. Because I forget how happy it makes me. When I want the books to come out, so it's nice to have someone far more talented than me draw them, but I don't think I get as much reward out of it usually. There's been exceptions. Peacemaker was a blast. Where Monsters Lie was a blast. Pioneer Merrimack that's coming out right now. It's like the guy who's drawn that Fran Galan. It's like watching a masterwork. So it's different process, but I'll say for me it's the whole thing. So there wasn't one thing that I was like, I love this character. And sometimes that does happen. Like I'll attach to, I really like this character, even though they're a minor character. And I think this book has those characters, but I kind of love all of them. They're all kind of exactly what I want to be. And, you know, that everyone in the first chapter gets a moment. There's two, this is when I read it recently, that I was like, I really like that. The high school bully has like a couple thugs. Unnamed unnamed thugs who are just clearly there to be bodies.
Yes.
And in chapter 3, like they get like their own moment, and it's like I love that. Like I like that by the end, everyone got their moment. And I did like a Where Are They Now, which is like my favorite thing from sort of 80s movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think they're very rewarding. So it's nice to get to do a Where Are They Now, which I've done before. I've done a Where Are They Now before, but I honestly can't even tell you which book it's in. Someone's gonna be like, "Is this one, Kyle?" I'm like, that's right, it's this one. Sex Castle. Sex Castle has a Where Are They Now, but that's an 80s action movie, so of course it does. So yeah, I like the whole bit. Really, the process. The process was the most joyful thing. The other stuff, it's stuff I've done. I love drawing a fight scene. I love choreographing a fight scene.
Yeah.
I love dialogue. Dialogue's my favorite. So there wasn't in this book. There wasn't one thing that I go, man, I really like that. And generally, when I draw them, that's true.
Yeah.
I'd say generally for the stuff I've drawn, it's a process. The whole thing was just a joy for me.
Now I'm going to ask because in the actually I'm going to say please feel free to give shout outs because you already mentioned Chris, your best friend, and is it Liz, his wife?
Yeah, Liz is his wife, and she does like color assistance. Like she'll do like some flatting for him. Okay. So we just make sure Liz gets great. I think she did the same. Whenever he draws something, she will sort of do spots for him. Chris still does 99%, but that's probably not fair. A high 90% of the coloring, but she helps. And usually want someone to get credit for that. And I think for his 6 sidekicks, there was a lot of confusion because they're like, oh, Liz, this other person colored it. Like, well, they just helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Schweitzer does most of the heavy lifting, but it's good to have help. It's good to shout out flatters and that type of thing, especially with your wife. Especially with your wife, you should do it.
That's the perfect segue because you give special thanks at the beginning of the book to your wife, Shara, or is it Shara?
Shara. It's Shara. Yeah.
Yes.
Shara. Yeah. Why'd I say it wrong? You made me say it wrong. Shara. That's my wife and my daughters, Jama and Adeline.
Yeah, that's nice that you gave shout outs to them.
I think my wife almost always gets the shout out.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I know I dedicated my first book, Sex Castle, to my dad, and he was unmoved by it. And I'm like, what's the last time I make that mistake? So I think Shara gets it often, but to be in full disclosure, like I wouldn't be able to do this 100%. This wouldn't be happening. None of these books would have happened. I was working a factory job here in town. I would say it was the best place to work in. I live in the 3rd largest city in Indiana, 250,000 people. And I'd say it was the best place to work in town. And I got a job there, great union job.
Yeah.
Like just the best job that I was going to get with my education and my skill set. And they just closed it one Christmas. Like they gave us a few months notice and they just closed it, right? And I had done the job that I was doing there every place I could do it in town, and we would have to have moved. Like I was literally like, I worked at every newspaper.
Yeah.
I did this job every place I could do it. And I was like, we're gonna have to move. And my wife goes, well, do you think you could make comics for a year? Do you think you could pay bills for a comic for a year? And I was like, yes, I could do, again, because I can do these books very quick. Now I'm very lazy. Now I'm tired and lazy. I can't do it like I used to. But I was like, yeah, I think I could do 3 Kickstarters and make the same 3 Kickstarters in 1 year. It's insane. I'm talking about full length 100+ page books was in my head. But wife started cleaning. She took a job cleaning bathrooms at the hospital, which is an awful job, so that I could make comics. As luck has it, and that's my career. It's been luck over and over. Is that I got Rick and Morty that February. It ended in December. I was working. I got a regular monthly series in February, and now I'm where I am. But that's not like me trying to get points with the wife. You know, wife made it all possible, and we don't ever forget that. And we're always in debt to her, and we always appreciate and have great gratefulness for her. I'm gonna tell you, cleaning bathrooms at a hospital is at the very bottom. It's not the worst job you can have, but you are only cleaning bad. They're only bad. People are sick. You're walking to sick areas. And yeah, she did that, I think for a year and a half or 2 years. She did it for a while so that we could do this. So almost all of them are dedicated to her, and she earned that. So sometimes they're not. I think in this book, I give a lot of thanks to Chris Schweitzer because he was very much, not just for coloring it or for the title, but he was on the ride with me, and it's good to have a cheerleader. You know what I mean? And Schweitzer is my best friend, and he's my virtual studio mate, and is one of my biggest cheerleaders. He has a great mind for story. He's one of the best assets that I have as a storyteller. If you can have a good group of people whose opinion you trust, And I think he was biased because it's his idea, and he loves the idea of teens karate fighting. So he was just like tickled pink by the whole thing. And I did the same thing. I didn't show him the last couple until they were done because I wanted him to have sort of the reward.
Yes.
And so when they came to do the book, he was like, you got to let me color it," which is the same he did for Rock Candy Mountain. He's like, "You got to let me color it." And Old Head, he's like, "You got to let me color it." And we love that. We love that because we know it's interesting. I think Schweitzer is it's challenging to give compliments because you're like, am I upset? Am I insulting someone somehow? But I think Schweitzer is one of the better colors in the industry. Him and Fran Galan, who colors himself on Pyramatic, they both are using color to change scene, to set tone. Like they just do it. And the good colors do. I think those guys have found the emotionality of it in a way that's very powerful. Where there's a lot of great colorists, but I think those two are high up. And I could list all the great color. I worked with Jordi Belair on Peacemaker, like we could just list great colorists. So I'm great. Whenever he colors my stuff, I'm so grateful because he gets it and he elevates it so much. So there's also shout out to Schweitzer in there because we have to. We love him.
Kyle,
my kids didn't do anything. They were useless. My kids didn't have anything to do with them.
Okay. Great. Seriously, Kyle, thank you very much for just sharing that special, how special your wife is, how
oh yeah, we love her.
Chris is, just thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. Well, thanks for asking.
Thank you. All right, now I'm going to shift gears because I gotta start wrapping this up. Wild Dog. I want to talk to you about Wild Dog. How big of a fan are you of this 80s character? Oh my God, because it's almost like he was only in the 1980s, and and all of a sudden he's recently just started to get a bit popular, I think.
Well, I believe he was there was a version of him on the Green Lantern TV show. I didn't watch that, so I don't know. But I love that original 4-issue series. I've actually not read the Action Comics stuff. I think I'd really like to. It was never collected anywhere, but I love that Max Allan Collins, Terry Beatty run. It's one of my favorite things. It's such a weird thing in like comics history, where I think they're very much trying to make their own Punisher, but they did it so weirdly. They did it as a mystery, which is also like one of the worst mystery comics. And I don't say that because I don't think they cared about the mystery, but they're like, what if we added this element to it, which is like, who's Wild Dog? But they don't really give you clues to try to figure out who it is. Like they don't even give you clues. And I tried to carry. I love it. I mean, I adore things like that. My favorite stuff is always the stuff that's off Main Street. You know what I mean? That's a little bit left of center. And I think it's fun. He's really violent in a really fun, maybe unintentionally fun way. I think his first appearance, he drives his truck into a terrorist. Like I think they're holding hostages. He drives it like a little truck, like not a big one, like a little truck. Drives in, jumps out, and kicks a guy in the crotch. And I'm like, well, this is for me, obviously. When they asked me if I wanted to do Brave and the Bold, which I said, yeah, I'd love to. It sounds like fun. They're like, well, who do you want to do? And I gave them a list of characters, and Wild Dog was number one. I have a soft spot in my heart for Wild Dog. Yes. One of the first comics I did was a Wild Dog fan comic. When I had just a few Twitter I think I had 75 Twitter followers, and I joked, I was like, hey, if I get to 250, I'll do a Wild Dog fan comic. And I got it in 2 hours. Tom Spurgeon, rest in peace, of the Comics Journal. I don't know how he saw that tweet, but he retweeted it. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I'd have weeks to think about this. Now I have I have to start now. And that's on the internet. If you look hard enough, you can find that Wild Dog fan comic. So it's not out there. So it's like it was very much full circle because I love that character.
Yes.
I like characters like that. And certainly with Wild Dog, it's very sort of a James Gunn move in that if I change him a little bit, no one's going to care. And that's not because I want to draw away from the other Wild Dog, but I think he's a pretty thin character historically. You kind of know who he is, but it never comes up. And I reference all those things, but I also want to do it as a kind of a mystery no one cares about. Yes. A major supervillain has came to Quad Cities, Iowa. Who could it be? And I think that's a great throwback. If you look through those 3 issues, the creators' names show up sort of repeatedly. Max Allen is a character in the book. Beatty's coffee shop.
Yes.
Max Allan Collins, Terry Beatty. Those names go around and around and around, and that's not because I think they made something great. It's even if it's a little silly, I think it's great. I think he's like the it's like it's kind of like the comic equivalent of Jim Cotta or something along those lines, where you're like, I don't think this is, I don't know if this is good, but it's great. And I
Yes.
think Wild Dog is very much that. So I gave them a list, and I'll tell you, I don't remember how long the list was. The first two were characters that I wanted to do. Like I was like, I hope they pick one of these two because I'll do a really good job. And I really like those three issues. Fernando Pasarin, who drew them, is unbelievably good. Like it looks like real people. I can't believe anyone. I mean, whenever I was so lucky in 2023 with the artists I worked with, I'll name them: Arjen Toppelin, Steve Pugh, Jesus Chess Hervis on Marvel Unleashed. Fernando Pasarin, Chris Schweitzer did Hawaii, the Harley Quinn, so I'll shout him out too. Just like, and then Fran now. Peter Kowalski on Where Monsters Lie, I think is pitch perfect for that comic. He's perfect casting the same way Steve Pugh was. I was so lucky. Fernando Pasarin is very good. Would work with all those guys again. Would work with only those guys. Honestly, it was such a great year of artists for me. Would love again. So yeah, I love. You don't hear about. It's probably there's someplace they're talking about Wild Dog's appearance in Brave and the Bold. I don't know. The Aquaman story in those books was really good too.
Yes.
Shout out to, I can't think of who wrote them.
Gabriel Hardman.
But yes, yeah, a really great Aquaman story in there too. So it's worth it. I think it's worth it to pick up those three issues because I'll tell you, probably won't ever get collected. I can't imagine they're going to do a 60-page Wild Dog collection or 120-page Aquaman. Like I don't know what I can't imagine they're going to do it. So it's worth picking up those Brave and the Bold. 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't remember 7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, I'm glad you like that. I like Wild Dog a lot, and I had a lot of fun with it. I've been very lucky. DC's been very. I think DC gets me, and they like what I do, and they're letting me be in a position to sort of succeed.
Yes,
and so they're kind of saying, they keep saying yes, because I was like, well, like if you're going to do villains, and I don't want to spoil it, but the villain in Wild Dog is one of my favorite villains, and it's like I always felt like he wasn't used right either. I always felt like that character was misused or misrepresented, but I also like the idea of sort of like what is maybe people would be like a joking third-rate character to go. Well, what if I just went to Minnesota and was like handedly the top guy? Like, why wouldn't you do that? I really like that Wild Dog story, so I appreciate you shouting that out. I like it a lot.
Okay, now the reason, because I love Wild Dog, I remember because I bought it when it first came out in the 80s, and like you said, it was just like I'm reading the first issue, going, this feels like the Punisher. I have no idea what I mean, it was an interesting story, but for some reason I bought all 4 issues because I wanted to finish the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I am joking on this part. I am blaming you. I blew $5 last November to pick up this 4-part the collection of the Wild Dog. You have to have all 4 issues. For $5.
$5? That's a deal, though. That's
a
steal. I think I tried to get it recently. I don't know where my copies are, and I paid. Let's say I paid $30. I don't remember what I paid, but I was like, you know what, it's fine. Yeah. And I'll tell you. Do I have it behind me? I don't know where it's at. My uncle. I hope my uncle doesn't listen to this. He does. My uncle does like a Silver and Gold Age, like comic hustle. He's always done his whole life.
Is this Tony Stark's? Is that your uncle?
Yeah, Tony Stark's. Yeah. That's my uncle. Yeah. All right. And at a show, he had a slabbed Wild Dog #1, and I was like, oh, I want it. And I think it was $75. I think he charged me $75 for that.
Oh God.
but I got a slab #1. So what more could I want? I love it. This is a conversation that we could have at length. I feel like, and I would love to hear Max Allan Collins. I'd love to hear their take. It feels like they were like, hey, we want you guys to make a new Punisher. And they were like, yeah, but we kind of don't want to. You know what I mean? Like why is it Quad Cities? Like, why is he dressed solely from sporting equipment? Yes. All these like little questions. And it's like, I would love the oral biography of the making of Wild Dog. I think, listen, hey, shout out, hey, DC. I think you could do this for a bunch of characters, where you could find the creators that are still alive while we can still do it, because some are gone. Rip Keith Giffen, because I bet he has a bunch of great stories about the making of. I would love a lot of these just do an oral biography between the writer and the editor and the artist about how things are made. I'd love, but Wild Dog is, because I have theories. And am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. I'd love to know. It's such a wild book. I think it's fun. It's a really fun comic.
It is.
I'm glad I got to add to it.
No, yeah. Kyle, sorry, we're kind of out of time because I don't want to keep you too long. I'm going to ask you
No, we
only.
can talk.
Okay.
Do your list.
You've already talked about that you're going to bookstore. When's your next bookstore appearance and convention appearance in the summertime?
My next well, I'm doing Free Comic Book Day is up very soon. I don't know when this comes out, but I'll be in St.
Yeah,
Louis for that.
it's coming out next week on
Okay,
May.
so don't worry about it. So my next one will be May 11th. I'm doing Muncie, Indiana. That's a 1-day show. It's very small, but my next big show is going to be Heroes Con in Charlotte, which is my favorite show, handedly.
Oh yes.
The bookstore appearances are like May 16th, May 21st, and June something. And I'll be in Bloomington, Indiana, Louisville, and St. Louis again.
Okay.
I'll be on my website. If you go to kyleStarks.com, I have appearances.
And then
all my stuff on
wrong. You're also going to be at Terrificon, right?
I'm going to be at Terrificon. I'm very excited about it because I've never done it before, and I love one of the things. I love conventions. I really do. I really enjoy them. I enjoy them more, especially when I'm not like very concerned about how much money. I'm just happy to sort of be out amongst the people and see my peers. HeroesCon's my favorite. Everyone who's at HeroesCon loves comics. They didn't come because maybe there's an actor or maybe everyone there loves comics. And that doesn't make it better or less than any show. But for me, it's very rewarding to have people who come to my table know who I am.
Yes.
It's very, are they go, you made all this? Like, they don't say that. They don't say that at HeroesCon. And I'm told Terrificon is very similar. There used to be several of these very comic centric shows, and they've sort of gone the way of the dodo, unfortunately. So I've always heard Terrificon is very much one of those shows. Comic fans come to talk to comic creators. And again, I like all the shows I've been at. I like them. There's something about being able to talk about only your industry. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I sell a lot of stickers at other shows. I sell a lot of stickers, and I like selling books. You know what I mean? I like selling stories more than I like selling a print or stickers. And that's what HeroesCon is. And I'm told Terrificon is very similar. So I'm excited.
I have to one day have to go to HeroesCon, and I have to go to Terrificon. It's on the bucket list.
Dude, I think, and again, I am a little bit biased, but I think that if you love comics, I think HeroesCon it's a bucket list thing. It's not like, you know what, New York is cool.
But yeah,
San Diego Comic-Con's it's cool. It's not the same. And the thing is, especially this year at New York Comic-Con, that artist alley area was stacked. Like, and you're in New York, so it's very much like that's big. It's huge. It's a great experience. But Charlotte's beautiful. It's very low key. We're all there to talk. You know what I mean? It's a different environment. There's a lot of everyone. Here's the thing I like about the Carolinas, really, but HeroesCon sort of encapsulates it. Is the people who go to that show are looking to try new things too. So if you're just my career is made at HeroesCon. Like, literally, my career is because of HeroesCon. But the people will try new things because they just love comics. Whereas there's other shows, it's very much you're kind of hunting interactions.
Yes.
Charlotte is someplace you go and you walk around and you have your list of literally hundreds of artists you want to talk to. But you'll see someone who's selling like a zine or selling a book or something. It's like, it's probably worth picking up. I just love it. I think it's the best comic show. We'll see what Terrificon trumps it. It's only comics. You know what I mean? It's 100% comics. There's no celebrities.
Yes.
There's no publishers. Usually, there's usually no publishers even. So it's very pure and unfiltered. And that's a hard rec. If you love comics, and I say this, I mean, if you like modern comics, if you like there's always goats there. There's always legends. But if you go if you're a Wednesday warrior, HeroesCon is the best show in America.
All right. 2 more questions. Have you and your family been to Hawaii?
No, I'd love to. I've been manifesting because I just found out that Hawaii has a couple good shows that they bring people. I'm trying to manifest it. I'm trying to bring Kyle Starks out. I say this again, sincerely, like, Hawaii is probably my dream destination. So I'm trying to manifest it very badly. I just did a signing in Jersey, and a very nice lady who comes to me when I'm in the area and always brings me Coke Zeros. Thank you, Una. Was like, oh, it's a comic convention she goes to, and she's like, it's my vacation, and I go at this time because I can also go to the comic convention. And I think it's just HawaiiCon. I can't remember what the name she said. But I'd never. And I was like, I'm trying to tell everyone in Hawaii to bring me on. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Because I mean, if we have to go, just let me know.
No, I got time. I got time.
All right, because all right now, one, I'm going to make this clear. I do not know any of the organizers. So I'm going to make that clear.
No, I need to email somebody.
Yeah. So, but on Oahu, where I live, the main island, we have two conventions. We have the Comic-Con Honolulu. That's usually in the fall. It's sometimes the first weekend in August, but this time it's the first weekend in September. And then we also have the amazing Comic-Con. Usually they would be in February, but unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, they have to push back to November. So those are the two big conventions. Yeah, those are the two big conventions. The other one is Maui Comic Con. That comes out it's in December, the weekend in December. And then Kauai Con, matter of fact, it's a 1 day show, and they just started, I think, like actually they started doing Kauai Con literally the year before the pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, everything shut down. And last year they finally was able to start up. So I think, yeah, so it's a 1 day show, but I think they're gonna I don't know, but I'm guessing that they're probably trying to see if they can get more guests, and then I'm sure they'll expand it to 2 days.
Yeah. Email me these. Email me these, please.
Oh,
and I'll
yes.
contact them. Because I sincerely, I'd love to. And it's always good, Trivia Con's in Connecticut. I've never been to Connecticut.
Yes.
So it's always very exciting to go to a new place. I also never get to do any. I very much show up in a city. I go to the hotel. I go to convention center. I eat. I go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could do that in Hawaii. I think I need to have at least a couple extra days, right?
Yes. Yes. There is
yeah. It's. I would say it's probably my number one. I would love to go to Paris because of the Louvre. There's a lot of cultural things I think are very interesting there. I'd love to go to Canada. Honestly, I would love to go to Canada. I've never been, and I want to go quite badly. To Calgary or even the several Toronto shows. Those are the three places I would go. Oh, I want to go. I don't like going different places, but I like working, and but Hawaii, it's always, I don't know. I'm trying to manifest it very badly. So she had said, and she told me the name, and I think it was the first one you said. It wasn't Amazing Con. It was Comic-Con Maui. Yeah. I think that was the one. That was the one she said. I need to Google it. You just reminded me, but yeah, I would love to. I just feel like, I don't know. Everything always looks so wonderful. Like it's one of the, and I'm sure it can't be, but like every depiction, as I tangent, every depiction in pop culture of Hawaii, there's no drawbacks. There's there's zero negatives, ever. I was a big Lost fan. Lost was filmed out there. Like,
yes.
Like, it's just one of those things, and I believe it's because Hawaii is just a wonderful place. Yes. But it's a place there's never been like a dark side of Hawaii. Like, this is in the dark side of Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like, let me show you the dark underbelly of Hawaii. Like, no one's ever done that. And my reason I think that is because it doesn't exist. And whether it doesn't, I like this. That's why in my head it's like, that's a dream destination.
Yes. And
yeah, I love it. I'd love it. And the only way I'll ever do it is, the only way I ever go anywhere is if a convention brings me out. I just can't imagine traveling for fun. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I'm trying to manifest it. So hopefully this is the one. This will put me over the edge.
All right. So a couple of things. If you are ever invited to a convention in Hawaii, whether it's on Oahu, Maui, or Kauai, one thing is the fans here, we will bring you food.
That's what I've heard.
We will.
I'm diabetic, so.
Oh, well, okay. Just make sure you bring a lot of insulin, okay? I'm joking.
No, I've heard that.
I'm diabetic too, so But oh my God, so that means you have to at least try something called a malasada. It's a Portuguese donut. It's a Portuguese donut. It's Portuguese donut. It's deep fried and it's sugar coated.
Yeah.
Just have one. That's all you.
I can have like a bite. I can have like a bite of one. Probably is about all I can have of that.
Shave ice on Oahu. The best place is Matsumoto Shave Ice on the North Shore. I'm sure there's. I think now. Correct me if I believe there is. I do know there is at least 2 or 3 flavors that are sugar-free syrups.
Okay.
So you have to try a Matsumoto Shave Ice. It's a popular one. Yes.
Let's go.
Oh,
But we don't do sugar free. They don't do sugar free syrups here.
oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
But no, I
So I haven't
know.
had it. I haven't had a shaved ice in 4 or 5 years,
Wow.
probably when my kids were little, and that was just me like helping me having a little bite. You know what I mean? Having a little bite.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. I want to try other things. I want to. I don't know. It sounds great. It sounds
Okay.
great. Sounds like great fun.
All right. Okay. Last question. Any closing words to our listeners?
Oh, I've already said so many words. Why add to it?
Just add.
I don't know, man. The thing that I always try to say is, for me, I don't make any of these books, any of the lovely books that you listed. Um, None of those were made for any other reason than to be consumed as entertainment. I make things for people to hear and read, and
Mhm.
there there are these journeys and adventures that sort of give us a respite from awful daily lives. Um, and so please check something out. And please check anything out. Like try somebody new. Like uh,
Mhm.
comics were tell someone about a comic. Give someone a comic that you think they might like who doesn't read comics. We're just trying to tell stories and entertain people and spread love. And I think if Karate Prom is your first Kyle Starks book and you like it, you'll like all my books. I
Mhm.
think I'm in many ways a singular voice in comics for better or for worse.
Mhm.
Kyle Starks book is clearly a Kyle Starks book. Um, so there's more out there, but yeah, we made the books to be read, so read some books.
Kyle, mahalo. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to interview. Thank you very much. I want to wish you all the success, with your graphic novel, Karate Prom. Listeners, again, it comes out on May 7th. It comes out in both formats, softcover and hardcover. I strongly recommend you get the hardcover. Oh my God. You know, yeah,
It
it's
looks
gonna look
good.
great on the shelf. It's gonna look great on the shelf. Um, Now, if you are a new comic book reader or a lifelong comic book reader, please check out Karate Prom. Um, you know, Again, like I said, it comes out on May 7th. It's going to be coming out at your nearest bookstore, or better yet, go to your LCS and tell your shop owner about it and order through your comic shop, and then that way you can tell the other customers in the shop about this book. You know, I love this book. It's a fun, positive story that deals with relationship, teamwork, and at times it's very touching. It's 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 a great book. I don't know to what else to say. I really don't know. So
Hey,
if you guys get a chance, please check out Karate Prom. And I want to thank Drew, the host of Comics for Fun and Profit, for putting this episode together. Drew, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. And if you are a new listener, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit that comes out every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys. Aloha.
As you know, our LCS is Cowabunga Comics, Lake Country, Wisconsin's best pop culture destination for new comics, back issues, gaming, retro video games, vinyl, and figures. Give them a call, 262-569-9999. Check them out online at cowabungacomics.com or follow them on Twitter at Incredicow. They are our LCS, and we utilize their deep discount mail order service to bring Oconomowoc, Wisconsin closer to us. They'll take care of you. Tell them Drew and Kyle sent you. Say hi to Eric and James from us. If you need an LCS, you can't go wrong with Cowabunga Comics.